Désolé de vous avoir fait attendre. Merci de m'avoir rejoint. C'est 9 Nerd Yards.
What's up, nerds? The Season 3 finale of Atlanta was surely a flood of emotions. In Episode 9, we were applying for scholarships with Aaron, the last anthology episode of the season. In Episode 10, we're in Paris watching Van get her hands on the bread, and there's a lot of things to discuss about this episode and the season overall. But before we do that, I just want to say,
can you get the fuck out my face?
Fuck it, let's just get into the episode. Episode 10, Tarrare, starts us with three ladies enjoying a nice brunch. They are Candace, Zasha, and Shanice. Zasha Roquamar is an actress you may have seen on The Mindy Project. Zasha is actually the IRL partner of Lakeith Stanfield. They just had a baby that they should probably keep away from Zazie after this performance. And Shanice Castro doesn't seem to be an actor, and I couldn't actually find any information about her. I think she must just be a friend of the show. So you can see that Zasha and Shanice just play the characters as themselves, while Adrian Ray is playing the established character of Candace. You might remember Adrian Ray playing Candace from Season 2, Episode 7, Champagne Poppy, another Van episode where Candace invites all the girls to a New Year's Eve party at Drake's house, where it turned out there was no Drake. Candace is explaining that she's out in Paris for a business trip, and it's lucrative enough to pay for her friend's plane tickets.
And how much you paying? Oh my God, y'all.
6,000.
Candace is pushing more P than Gunna out in Paris.
I'm push P!
But that conversation is cut short because Candace starts staring off into the distance like she just saw a ghost. And it's Van, decked out in her best Amelie cosplay, and honestly, I'm feeling the look. The accent is definitely a bit much, but hey, one in France, right?
I am running late. Friends, they are, how do you say, very cool?
Let's also notice that Van is picking up meat from a butcher. What type of meat? Who knows? But Van is also acting like she doesn't recognize Candace, and Candace just won't let that happen, causing Van to do that fake remembering thing.
Candace! I'm so sorry, Sherry. It is so good to see you.
Like, come on now. How long have you been in Europe that you don't remember one of your closest friends? We then cut to one of Atlanta's more in-your-face title cards. Van takes the girls to her apartment, and it's quite nice. Candace is poking around the apartment trying to get some clues about Van's new life. She notices one of those big-ass fashion magazines on Van's table, Chic Paris, and Van is the cover girl. That's where things started getting nutty for me, because there is a whole spread of pictures and an article written about Van in this magazine, further adding to the fact that she has definitely been around the town for some time. But how is she this connected, and how long has she been here?
She ain't French.
Girl, no.
This girl crazy.
Candace notices a picture with Van and some white dude, and we get this creepy moment with Candace also noticing a bunch of text messages coming in on Van's phone. Text from Ern, Van's mom, and someone named Marcel. And honestly, up until this moment, I thought this was going to turn out to be Van's doppelganger, and the real Van will turn up in the end of the episode. But those texts put that idea to rest. This is really Van. We are really doing this. Candace creeps closer to Van's room, looking very cautious and freaked out before Van cuts her off with a bottle of wine. Does anyone know what Candace could have possibly been looking at in this shot that had her so troubled? And really, silence your phone, Van. You know people are looking for you blowing your shit up. Candace asks about the photo, and Van explains that the dude in the picture is her partner, Marcel. Marcel helped her get on her feet when she arrived in Paris, whatever that means. So I wonder what the chain of events are here, because we know that Van told Darius that she had a boyfriend in episode 2.
I have a boyfriend.
Was she referring to Marcel and already had this in the works? But just like me, Candace is clearly invested in figuring out what the fuck is going on, and asks Van how long she has been in Paris.
What? How long have you been out here?
Well, we met when I was working at a restaurant. I was running the food, of course. He was the chef. Then we met, and we were like magnets, you know? Passion magnets. But I know you understand.
That's sweet and all, but you didn't answer the damn question, Van. And Candace asks if they can catch up in private, but Van brushes her off and invites the girls out to run some errands. We get some nice shots of the girls riding Vespas down Parisian streets. When they arrive at this luxurious hotel, Shanice calls out exactly what I was thinking about Van's bread.
She really gotta check this bread everywhere we go, huh?
So the girls make their way up to Van's first contact, who turns out to be the Northman himself, Alex Skarsgård. And I thought he was just playing some goofball, but nope, Van is actually hooking up with the Atlanta universe's version of Skarsgård. And I've seen a theory that says Skarsgård is kind of acting like Armie Hammer, who has recently been canceled due to women in his past relationships coming out and telling some wild stories. And I mean some hardcore stories. I've never heard the phrase sexual cannibalism before I read an article about Armie Hammer. And that connection becomes clearer later on in the episode. So Alex is definitely hamming it up, being a weirdo, dancing around, listening to Ashanti. And no, she's not with Nelly anymore.
Ashanti!
She's still with Nelly, by the way.
I don't think so.
Candace tries to have another talk with Van to get to the bottom of things, but this is when Van whips out some crack to plant in Alex's room. What? I've been blessed enough in my life to really not know anything about crack, but that seems like a lot of crack for Van to just casually have.
Van, relax, it's fine. We do this every week. No, Van, this is like crack. You can't just... He loves when I play games with him.
Apparently, it's just a little game that Van and Alex play with each other, a little devil dance, and Zasha knows the devil dance too.
The police or security or someone. What are you doing? Go back to his room. It's our last chance to save him.
What the fuck was that?
It's like our little devil dance, you know? Zasha knows the devil dance.
But Van was really there to pick up a key for her next errand. They ride over to a Parisian project building where Zasha says,
Vanessa, this feels like Candyman.
It does, doesn't it?
I haven't seen the new one from Jordan Peele yet, but could you imagine an episode of Atlanta penned by Peele? Seems like a beautiful marriage. Shanice says she's feeling the bread that Van's carrying around.
She really ain't put this bread down once. I'll fucks with it now.
The girls also comment that the dumpster smells like something died in it. And Van says this.
That is not how that thing smells.
There are people in the courtyard warning about Van's approach, calling out Tarrare, and when Van approaches the drop box, there is no package. They run back to their scooters, but their tires are popped, and the girls are approached by some hooligans, one of them looking like Fetty Wap and shit. But before Van comes his way, she whips out a cigarette and drops a cold line.
There's nothing more I can do. If this is the way, this is the way.
I don't know why I love this shit so much, but the locals call Van Tarrare, and the girls ask why. And Van's response here freaked me out.
Okay, why do they keep calling you Tarrare?
He was the man who ate the baby.
Van is the man who ate the baby, Tarrare. For those of you who haven't looked it up yet, Tarrare was an 18th century showman. He was said to have had a bottomless stomach. Someone watched this dude eat a meal meant for 15 in one sitting, and the next day he could still get it. This guy was like the French Flash. Tarrare was hospitalized for his weird condition because it got to the point where he was just eating anything he could find on the streets. I'm talking about live cats, snakes, lizards, and puppies. But he could also just eat scrap metal. Okay, so this guy is actually like Kirby. Although he was hospitalized, his treatment came to an end when a 14-month-old baby disappeared from the hospital. I guess no one could say for sure that Tarrare ate the baby, but everyone kinda knew that Tarrare ate the baby. So naturally, they chased him out of the hospital. When I read this episode's title before watching any preview or knowing it was a Van episode, I thought for sure this episode will be about Al, because have you noticed how much this boy has been eating this season? In episode 2, he orders 300 pieces of chicken, all legs. But also in episode 2, he kinda stayed in jail so he could get the lunch he ordered and take a nap. In episode 6, he describes eating an English breakfast but still being hungry that same morning. So I was completely thrown through a loop when Tarrare turned out to actually be referring to Van. At this point in the episode, we know that Van is off the handle. And the facts are, 1, she is a courier for some type of black market delivery service. 2, she knows what a dead body smells like.
That is not how that thing smells.
And 3, the local gang refers to her as the man that ate the baby. So with all of the facts given, I'm thinking, what happened to Lottie? Why is Van running?
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Did anyone else feel this anxiety? But the hooligans are easily distracted like some video game characters, and they immediately give Van a chance to dip while the girls catch up.
Why are you running?
Van is pissed that someone stole her Amazon package and she's making more arrangements. They arrive outside their next stop, an art museum where we can see a Paperboy concert poster for March 17th. Van is greeted by the museum security who is elated to see Van, but Van is actually there to see Emilio, who was supposed to have made sure that the package was at the drop-off. Van and the girls walk into the museum surrounded by very elegant sculptures and pottery. It all looks like very expensive shit. Emilio is not happy to see Van, and the tone in the room shifts as he starts asking people to leave the exhibit. Genuine fear is on this man's face.
What's going on? Oh, nothing, Malayan. I promise. Carlos, can you get someone to bring us some wine and some cheese? Oh, and for friends, whatever they want.
No.
Why? Yeah?
No. I think we will be just fine.
It is now revealed to us why Van has been carrying around that baguette. It's not to break bread, it's to break jaws.
You know me. Oh, come on, Van, you know me.
If you leave a baguette sitting out for a week, you're crazy. Why would you? It would get stale and hard. But what if you leave it out for 2 weeks? Or 3 weeks? Or 6 months? How hard and how stale would it become?
This scene is so out of control. Atlanta is great at making absurd situations look beautiful, and this whole episode is a testament of that. This scene in particular, just seeing Van unsheath her baguette like she's been studying the blade, or should I say studying the bread, that was enough for me. The crunch of each wallop she delivers causes a jump cut to different pieces of art. The centaur with the broken neck is my favorite. Van gets Emilio to reveal where the package is, and we get this cute mix-up with Shanice.
Janice, retrieve the package. No, the other vase.
While they are walking out the exhibit, Candace wonders if the package is drugs. Nah, I mean, you've seen Van actually sprinkle crack around a hotel room. I doubt she has any problems getting drugs, so what could possibly be in the package? The girls follow Van to the last stop of the day, a mansion where the Parisian elite are getting ready for a very special dinner. At this point, Candace is just ready to give up, because clearly Van isn't trying to explain what the hell her life has become. But Zasha and Shanice are just ready to party. After the day they just had, I would be ready to eat and drink at these ultra-rich people's expense too.
I like whoever this is.
I'm gonna go grab a drink.
Yeah, me too. Sorry, girl.
This is when Alex shows up, revealing that Van's little devil Dan's got the paparazzi writing a story on him. And tragically, he lost the Baby Shark movie.
Bravo. You really fucked me back there. Paparazzi got a hold of the story. I might lose the Baby Shark movie now.
That's tough, bro. But Van just spits in his face. And honestly, if it's Van, whatever, sure. And this causes Alex to want to, relieve himself. Van and Candace walk into the kitchen with her boyfriend Marcel. Van explains how she knows Candace.
Oh, before I forget, this is my friend Candice. We both met while we were stripping on that river cruise.
Oh.
Van gets to work prepping dinner. This is Candace's moment to finally talk to Van alone. Hands down, the best moment is now. I gotta hand it to her. She really stuck around to figure out what is going on with her friend. Candace ain't looking for a handout, you know what I mean? She just wants to get a grip of the situation. I really had to pause this shit and take a break. But first, since Candace doesn't realize Marcel is unwrapping the package, she calls Van out.
Just please talk normal.
I am talking normal.
Without the fake accent, Van. Hey, what are you doing? Really, like, what? What are you doing here?
But Van calls Candace out, but not really, because this is on a whole different level of weird.
What are you doing here? Peeing on some guy? God forbid anybody tries to be more interesting than you. Or anybody tries to do anything that is not worth your approval. And the only reason you're angry with me right now is because you're not in control of me.
I mean, even Marcel is upset that Van beat someone up with bread again.
You almost beat a man to death with a fucking baguette, Van.
Again.
This is something she apparently does from time to time. But dinner is ready, and this is when Candace realizes what the package is.
Are those hands? We've been chasing hands all day?
Yeah.
You know what? I think Darius knows who to go to when he starts his business.
Grains of the finest cannabis, harvested by real, authentic Mexican hands.
A woman sitting at the head of a table introduces the meal to the dinner guests in between cuts of its preparation. The woman explains each guest is expected to eat the dish with a napkin over their head to have more of a personal experience.
I offer a reminder. We will eat this meal with this napkin draped over our heads, as is traditional with les mains. This is not out of shame, as some may speculate. Quite the opposite. It is to allow a private and sensuous moment with a meal. A meal that I assure you rivals even the finest banquet at Mount Olympus. And now, les mains. Bon appétit.
But this does set up to be a perfect comedic situation, because Candace wouldn't think to warn Zasha and Shanice to not eat a hand, but Candace also doesn't know about the napkins over the head ritual. So what is the significance of the hands? Wait a minute, this seems familiar. Alright, let's pull up the episode description. Okay. Let's see. I know you guys hate when I compare these two shows, but this is very reminiscent of the scene in Dave Season 2. That's my leading theory. I know that there is a lot of theories about what the hands symbolize. I think it should just be left to your own.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What the fuck, man? You said it would be smart butter. Okay, should I stop? Keep going. All right.
So Candace accepts the fact that Van is committed to this new life and kind of just wants to know what her real plan is. What about her family? And yeah, Van kind of has some things figured out.
Have you talked to your parents?
They're going to be thrilled for me. They've always wanted me to get married. They've always wanted to visit Paris.
And money?
I am working, as you can see.
And Lottie?
But as soon as Lottie is mentioned is when we see the cracks in her whole facade start to shatter, as if she is waking up.
Bring her here with me.
To eat hands?
Van is confused and mortified by where she is and starts having a conniption, screaming and throwing dishes around the kitchen, so Marcel gets the fuck out of there. The cinematography for this scene does something different that I don't think we've ever seen in Atlanta. The camera shakes and is handheld, moving in on Van's frantic expression. The closest comparison to a shot like this we've had in the season would be when Al is passing out on the streets of Amsterdam, breaking the space-time continuum and shit. So not only is Zazie Beetz giving a hell of a performance here, we are also meant to feel this reaction and shift in personality from the perspective as a viewer, and that is pulled off so elegantly by how sparing Atlanta is with using these types of shots. Van is screaming so loud that Zasha and Shanice get worried and take off their napkins, revealing they are eating hands.
Oh my God, girl, this is a hand. Bitch, this is a whole hand. Oh my God.
Did anyone else just roll their eyes when watching that? Y'all really didn't want to do another take on that?
Bitch, this is a whole hand.
And Skarsgård comes out so excited to get him some hand.
All right. I'm starving. Where are these little hands?
So yeah, I think him being a pervert and willing to eat human flesh is definitely drawing parallels to Armie Hammer. We cut back to Van and Candace sitting by the Eiffel Tower, and it's actually Van, curly hair and all. We finally get some answers to what has been happening to Van throughout the season. Under glittering lights sitting on a bench next to the River Seine, Van explains that she's been depressed.
I've just been feeling really off for a while. I don't really know for how long.
She doesn't know who she is. She had a moment where she was driving to pick up Lottie from school and she just closed her eyes.
A couple weeks ago, I was driving in Atlanta and this dark feeling came over me. I closed my eyes. I closed my eyes while I was driving. And then I got scared, so I opened my eyes and I was in the opposite lane. Once I realized what I was doing, I just cried all the way home. I'm a terrible mom. When I picked Lottie up from school, I felt like she was looking at me like she knew what happened and that she hated me for it.
This shook her so much that she dropped Lottie off at her mom's place and she bought a ticket to Europe to meet up with the gang, the start of the season. So this moment really surprised me because again, Atlanta typically does not do this. We are rarely told outright what a character is truly feeling. Throughout the season, we, the audience, have come up with every theory to explain what the hell is going on with Van. Is Van dead or a ghost? Is she fucking Darius? But they did the unexpected by not leaning into the absurd or the surreal. Van's not dead. She just feels dead inside. And there should be a small part of you that feels that is worse to hear than her being a damn ghost. And no, she wasn't fucking Darius. When we got that ice scene in the hotel hallway, she was just up watching Amelie trying to figure out her life and didn't feel like getting Ern involved.
What's up?
Nothing, I got some ice.
mental health is still a very stigmatized issue, especially in the Black community. Some of y'all might be wondering why, after making 9 videos and gaining so much momentum that I am extremely thankful for, by the way. But why would I take a break with 1 episode left? And the truth is, I had recently started a new job, had some friends come into town over the weekend, and just felt overall burnt out. And also, I've been dealing with my own mental health issues for years that I've managed to get under control, but at the same time, shit gets tough sometimes. And I didn't feel like making a video. I just wanted to sit and watch Atlanta and hang out. But yeah, I'm good. I got my mental health under control. Dropped my life and moved to France for a while with a new accent. Shit, at one point in my life, oui.
Why are you running?
I'm Push P.
With the way that I just wanted to be someone else and not feel the way that I did. So when Van says that she has been feeling so lost that she closed her eyes while driving, I was so heavy-hearted I basically forgot about the rest of the crazy shit that happened in the episode. And Candace is listening to Van and being a good friend.
I'm gonna be Amelie. I came here and I couldn't do that either.
It's because you're cooler than Amelie.
I'm not cooler than Amelie. You are.
Van is definitely cooler than Amelie. I ain't never seen Amelie, but I doubt she's moving weight and slaying people with baguettes. Van decides it's time to go home and see her daughter. But Van also brings up the fact that Candace has a job to do.
Don't you have to pee on someone?
Yes, I do. That'll be fine.
But it's cool. Candace got someone to cover for her. At the end of the episode, we are in a swanky apartment where a man in a robe lets in Shanice. He asks if she needs anything to drink, and Shanice is like, nah, let's just do this thing. And Shanice is doing the dance like she really got to go. And my guy got a tarp ready on the ground. I'm thinking, bruh, you're going to need a bigger tarp or a kiddie pool, to be honest. You know when it comes to this type of fetish, either you're in or you're out.
You get the fuck out my face.
I bet you're so happy you waited for this video. But we get a almost too long scene of Shanice on her own business drip, looking out the windows to a miraculous view of the Eiffel Tower, bathed in yellow. Again, this is such a beautiful shot. Without context, this would be an amazing Instagram moment for Shanice. But Shanice should really be on Twitch the way she's streaming. Right at the end, we hear the guy gurgling up, saying, "Stop." We cut to credits with ludicrous splash waterfalls playing out the episode. Simply hilarious. I know a lot of people have had mixed reviews about this episode, and it has one of the lower ratings for the season, but I actually really liked this episode. It was just a wild adventure with one of my favorite actresses. Admittedly, it does put me in a strange spot because I don't think there's that much here to analyze or speculate on in this episode. They told us outright what is going on with Van. She just wanted to be Amelie and she's sad. The hands. Honestly, there are so many interpretations that we could go with that I think it should just be left to your own. To make these videos, I typically need a lot of clips. So I kind of have to get my episodes from unsavory means, with questionable quality. For the first day I watched this episode, the credits rolled and that was the end of the episode and the season. It wasn't until someone mentioned the scene with White Urn in the Discord server did I even know there was a post-credit scene. So I had to get back on and get another download. So shout out to everyone that's joined the 9 Nerd Yards Discord and keeps me informed. I love y'all. The post-credit scene is of luggage being dropped off to Urn. It's apparently missing airplane luggage that is under Urn's name. Only problem is, Urn isn't missing any luggage.
What's this?
It's your bag.
I got all my bags.
Your name Ernest Marks?
Yeah.
You travel on May 8th?
Yeah.
It's your bag.
But he just signs for it and takes the bag anyway. He opens up the bag in his room and there's some medication, a Deftones shirt that Ern snags for himself, and a framed picture. Ern gets up probably to see if that shirt fits him, and we pan over to see that the framed picture is of White Ern with his family. I've been waiting to see White Ern since episode 4, The Big Payback, and in my video breaking down that episode, I said this. But I do think our Ern and Ernest will meet in the main timeline in some weird and uncomfortable way that brings the themes of this season full circle. Why is the show so weird? The implications of this are kind of big. Implication 1. Does this mean that all of the anthology episodes happened this season? That could be true. The last time we saw E, he blew his muffin back. The time before that was in the season opening scene on the lake where he was a demon monster thing. None of the anthology episodes would actually have that big of an effect on the Atlanta universe other than the Big Payback episode. Implication 2. If everything has happened in the Big Payback, that means that black people across Atlanta actually did get reparations in the millions, which could completely change the dynamic of the show for what we see in season 4. They wouldn't be able to just ignore that type of radical change in social norms and social hierarchy, so maybe season 4 actually will focus on that aspect a lot. Who knows? Implication 3. Did the gang receive reparations? And is it possible that White E had to pay reparations to Earn? I don't know if that would be true though, because Earn would then recognize who was in the picture and what was going on with the name mix-up. So I don't think that this post-credit scene necessarily is confirmation that the anthology episodes are canon. And my biggest reasoning for this is that Atlanta doesn't give a fuck about what we think. It could be real, it could not be real. Unexplainable shit happens all the time on the show, and they just move on. For example, in season 1, there's an invisible car. Like, if they were really manufacturing invisible cars, wouldn't we see a lot more? Well, that's a bad example, but you know what I mean. They could just not address this shit ever again. I know I've been making Shining references this whole season, but I feel like this one really is a Shining reference. At the end of The Shining, when they zoom in on the hotel picture and it's Jack Torrance, I know it's a reach, but let's consider that this wasn't supposed to be the last episode of the season. Episode 9, Rich Wicked Poor Wicked, was supposed to be the last episode. And we know that episode was completely black and white, so I was thinking that this post-credit scene could have possibly been initially made for the end of episode 9, and could have been in black and white, and looked like this. Please someone tell me I'm not crazy. I swear it's a Shining reference. This is a good time to talk about the timeline. So by the end of the episode, we get a bit of a timeline of events for the whole season. So let's take the information that we have and try to piece this together. And again, thank you so much to everyone in my Discord for putting most of this together for me. But let's start with 2 pieces of information first. We know that the last time we see the gang, or at least we see Earn, is in the post-credit scene. And it's of him receiving luggage for a flight for May 8th.
Your name, Ernest Marks?
Yeah.
Travel on May 8th?
Yeah.
Your bag.
The second piece of information is that we know that the start of the season is after Van had her incident and flew to Amsterdam to meet with the gang, and she ended up in Paris a couple of weeks later.
A couple weeks ago, I was driving in Atlanta
And we know that Van is in Paris sometime around March 17th because of the Paperboy concert poster. And those posters could be advertising a future concert or posters left over from a past concert. So let that be a baseline for the beginning and the end of what we actually see. Van arrives in Amsterdam sometime before March 17, and Earn took a flight back to Atlanta around May 8th. Episode 3 follows closely after episode 2 because Van is still with the gang for Fernando's party, but directly after she starts ignoring Earn's calls. I'll skip episode 4 for now because in episode 5 is where we follow up with the gang in Budapest, and Van finally texts Earn back with a thumbs up. In episode 6 we meet up with Van again in London. I think she's been there the whole time since Fernando's party, while the gang was in Budapest. But in this episode Van is accused of stealing a wig, presumably the wig for her Amelie cosplay. And at the end of episode 6, when we think Earn and her are starting to reconnect, she actually ditches him in a hotel room. And I think this is when Van actually goes to Paris. So we can presume that the events of episode 2, 3, 5, 6, and 10 all happened before March 17th during Paperboy's tour. And I think episode 8 would be right before May 8th when Earn would have been flying back home to Atlanta. I only say that because it seems like they started the tour in Amsterdam and would have circled back there during the end of the tour and would have had more downtime for Alan Darius to just walk around and trip balls. But the anthology episodes are a bit strange. We could extrapolate that the events of episode 1 with Aquarius also happened at the same time Van arrived in Amsterdam. That's because Earn is perceived to have dreamt that episode before making his way to Amsterdam. Episode 4, The Big Payback, where White Earn says that his luggage was lost.
They can't find my bag, though.
So this should be taking place around May 8th when Earn would have flown back from the European tour and the bags would have had a chance to mix up. Episode 7, Trinity to the Bone, is where things get a bit more complicated. Anthology episode that has a poster for Paperboy's homecoming tour, and that's dated October 31st. So I would think that this episode takes place way after the last time we see Earn after his May 8th flight. Episode 9, RWPW. It doesn't really matter where you place it, right? However, I did notice that poster in Aaron's room is dated also for October 31st, the same day for Paperboy's homecoming tour. So in conclusion, it's all fucked. And I have no idea what I'm even doing at this point. Why did I put a timeline together? What does it matter? Why is this video so long? This stops now. So here we are. We made it to the end of the season. 10 videos, over 3 hours of content, over 6,000 subscribers. Y'all are on one for that. I just wanted to say thank you so much for everyone that contributed and has been supporting me. And in my comment section, I swear to God, is like providing so much feedback and so much things to think about. I am sorry that this took so long. Thank you so much for everyone that's been patient and, you know, bigging me up in the comments. If you made it this far into the video, let me know if you think this bread is soft or if you think this bread is hard. and I'll love your comment. I just need to say some shout outs like the end of an album. Let me shout out the boys at the Unfiltered Bachelors podcast. That's Blake, Terry, and Jeff. These guys are super funny. I've actually been on their podcast. To check out the listenables on Spotify, or you can watch the podcast on Facebook. I'll put the links to that below. Oh, shout out to Max. If you notice, my intro was in French. Max, who's actually part of my Discord server, and hit me up on Twitter. So thank you so much, Max, for contributing that. Shout out to D Carrington. He actually helped out on the episode 7 video, Trinity to the Bone. He's an author from Trinidad, and he's got a new book coming out, so check that out. Everyone in my Discord servers, thank you so much for all of the information you provided there. Been blowing up out of control. I don't actually have any sponsors or anything, but there are 2 organizations that I do want to bring to your guys' attention. That would be Clubhouse International, that I'm actually on the board of myself. What we do is actually finance tuition for Zimbabwean kids. In Zimbabwe, there isn't a free public education system, so you actually have to pay to go through grade school. So what we do is fundraising and making sure that these kids can go to school, sending about 10 kids per year to school. We are trying to make that grow. I'll leave a link to the website. But yeah, we're just sending Zimbabwean kids to school. Think of it as me reinvesting in my hood. So in my hood. I'm tired, y'all. Another organization is a channel that I edit for. It's called Chimvukela TV, dedicated to telling the real stories of the Zimbabwean revolution. So that channel has long form interviews with Zimbabweans that participated in the Revolutionary War, Zimbabwean independence with the British. It's very interesting stuff. I know it's very particular. It may not be your jam. Check out the channel, give them a like or subscribe if you can. Try to blow them up. We would really appreciate it, just so we can get more funding to make sure that these stories are being told. And Chimvukela TV is actually who set me up with my video editing software. I really wouldn't be making these videos without them. So it might be worth checking out. But yeah, this has been such a good thing. But you know what they say about all good things. Like and subscribe, and I won't take too long with the next video.